When we think about AI, we tend to picture it as this clean digital thing, right? Just code and data floating around in the cloud. But what if I told you the real home of AI is in these massive, humming factories that drink rivers of water and just guzzle electricity? Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the real price of AI, a price measured not just in dollars, but in concrete, power, and our own ability to keep up. So here's the game plan. First, we'll dig into AI's huge and kind of hidden physical footprint. Then, we'll ask who's footing the bill for all that power it needs. After that, we're jumping into the massive race to reskill our workforce. We'll hear what the tech titans are debating, and finally, we'll tackle the big one. Is AI a job creator or a job destroyer? Okay, first up, let's get real about what AI is actually made of. The sheer scale of the physical resources it eats up, well, it's honestly hard to wrap your head around. I mean, think about this. Every single time you ask an AI a question, you are kicking a vast physical machine into gear. This isn't some kind of magic happening in cyberspace. It's a real warehouse-sized data center, built with tons of concrete, chugging a constant river of electricity, and cooled by millions of gallons of water just to keep it from melting down. And if you want a number to latch onto, look at this. The biggest grid operator in the entire US is forecasting a 17% jump in peak power demand by 2030. And the main driver for that? You guessed it, all the new data centers being built to fuel this AI boom. So with this insane demand for power, you've got to ask, who pays for it all? And this is leading to a really fascinating moment where corporations and governments are kind of scrambling to rewrite the rules for this new AI age. So how are companies trying to handle this? Well, take OpenAI. They've launched this program they call Stargate Community. And the whole idea is that as they build these gigantic new data centers, they're making a promise to the local communities. Hey, we won't be a drain. We'll pay for our own energy, so your electricity bill doesn't skyrocket because of us. And it's really not just about electricity. They're promising to use modern closed-loop cooling systems to save water. They're setting up OpenAI academies to train local workers. They're even partnering with local unions. The bottom line is they'll either bring their own power source or pay to upgrade the local grid. It's basically a full-court press to prove they can be a good neighbor. And OpenAI isn't just going rogue here. This is part of a much bigger trend. The White House is actually pushing a similar idea for the entire country. See, traditionally, when the grid needed a big upgrade, we all paid for it through higher rates. This new proposal flips that completely on its head. It says the tech giants causing all this demand, your Googles, your Amazons, your Microsofts, they should be the ones paying for the new power plants directly. All right, so all this new hardware is just one side of the coin. The other side is the human side. This technology is going to fundamentally change how we all work, which means we are now in an all-out race to get people ready for an AI-powered world. And the challenge ahead is huge. By 2030, projections show that nearly 40% of the core skills people use at their jobs today will be changed by AI. Now, that's not a small tweak. That is a seismic shift that's going to require a massive effort to reskill people, moving them from doing routine stuff to more creative and collaborative work. So how in the world do we meet a challenge that big? Well, the tech giants are jumping in with some pretty big education programs. OpenAI is working directly with governments. Google is teaming up with Princeton Review to offer free AI-powered SAT prep. And they're also funding programs to teach educators themselves all about AI. But here's the really crucial part. The goal here is so much deeper than just teaching people how to use these new tools. It's about teaching the next generation to think critically, to ask the hard questions about this technology, to see its flaws, and to use it as a responsible partner, not just some magic answer box. This whole question of how society is supposed to adapt, this was the hot topic at the World Economic Forum in Davos. And what's so fascinating is that the CEOs of the most powerful companies on the planet are deeply divided. They're offering totally different competing visions for where we're all headed. So on one side, you have Microsoft's CEO, Satya Nadella. He basically warned that if AI doesn't start showing real, tangible benefits for regular people, public patience is going to run out fast. People will start asking why we're pouring all this energy into just generating these tokens, the answers and images AI spits out, if it's not actually making their lives better. He's basically saying AI needs a social license to operate. And then you have the complete opposite take from JP Morgan CEO Jamie Dimon. His view is just brutally pragmatic. AI is coming, it's coming fast, and you can't just wish it away. Your competitors will use it, other countries will use it. He's basically saying we need to stop hoping for the world we want and start preparing for the world we've got. And then, playing the role of optimist-in-chief is NVIDIA's CEO Jensen Huang. He sees this whole moment in a completely different light. For him, the focus isn't on software getting rid of jobs, it's on the physical hardware creating them. He frames the AI revolution as the largest infrastructure project in human history, and to him, that's a guaranteed engine for job creation. So, what this really boils down to is a fundamental disagreement at the very highest levels. We're watching a clash of two totally different visions for the future of work. Will AI be our greatest job creator or our greatest job destroyer? And you can see the two possible futures laid out right here. On one side, you've got Jamie Dimon's cautious view, warning about mass layoffs, like the 2 million American truck drivers at risk from self-driving tech, which could lead to serious civil unrest. And on the other, Jensen Huang's optimistic view that we'll have labor shortages, not unemployment, because we'll need a huge army of skilled workers, plumbers, electricians, builders, to construct this new AI world. And look, it's not just CEOs debating this. You have guys like Mike Rowe from Dirty Jobs saying the exact same thing. He sees this coming boom in skilled trades, but he also says our workforce is nowhere near ready. The thing that gives him hope, though, is that Silicon Valley is finally starting to pay attention to the value of these essential hands-on jobs. Which brings us to the most important question of all, doesn't it? We are building the physical world of AI, the power plants, the data centers, at an absolutely incredible speed. But are we putting that same energy and focus into building the social infrastructure? You know, the schools, the training programs, the support systems that will make sure this revolution actually benefits everyone, and not just a few. That's the real price of AI. And honestly, it's the one we still need to figure out.